Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now, in this video, I want to talk about the idea of the plandemic and my thoughts on it. Now, basically, the idea of the plandemic is that the coronavirus was intentionally released into the general public to achieve the political aspirations of political organizations as well as big pharmaceutical companies. Now, the idea is that it was intentionally released into the general public in order to introduce restrictive policies under the cover of public health protection, as well as to promote vaccinations from big pharmaceutical companies, as well as the political plan to make vaccinations mandatory. Now, to sum it up, essentially, I don't agree with it. I don't think that the current coronavirus pandemic was intentionally done. I do believe the politicians are using the crisis to their advantage, especially those on the left, but I think it's too much of a stretch to say that they were involved in the release of the virus in the first place. Now, politicians and political organisations are using the coronavirus to their advantage to push political positions. This is quite evident with the Democrats over in America, where with their inclusion of quite a few irrelevant policies into the coronavirus relief bills to try and sneak them through. And those policies include parts of the Green New Deal, which has already been rejected, as well as to allow ballot harvesting and mail-in ballots. Now, one of the biggest areas of the plandemic theory is the area of vaccinations. And there's a lot of money in vaccinations. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons why the pharmaceutical companies have gotten so big. I mean, for example, when it comes to the current coronavirus, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they've invested a lot of money into the development of a vaccine for the virus. And they're also in support of making vaccinations mandatory, in which many politicians are also in support of. Now, for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, with regard to supporting this, it makes sense, because they stand to make more money from it if they are made mandatory. But I also think that this idea that companies like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation were responsible for the coronavirus in the first place is a bit too much of a stretch for me. Now, personally, I don't agree with the idea of making vaccinations mandatory, because I do think it would count as a personal choice, but I would get the vaccine. I would get vaccines, no problem. And going from that, one of the biggest groups that have taken advantage of the crisis is the anti-vaccination movement, the anti-vaxxers. And they've taken advantage of the crisis by insinuating that the fact that Big Pharma, like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, stand to make money from vaccinations, and that is proof that they were responsible for the release of the virus in the first place. I don't think so, because I do have a problem. I do have a problem with the anti-vaccination movement, simply because of the fact it's so clear that they have such a strong case of confirmation bias. Now, for those of you who don't know, confirmation bias is the tendency to favour information to confirm something we already believe, and to disregard information that is conflicting to that belief. Anti-vaxxers only see the data that support their position, and then when they're shown data that conflicts with their position, they get quite volatile. So to conclude, politicians, political organisations, and the anti-vaccination movement are using the coronavirus to their advantage to push their political positions. But I do think that the idea that those political organisations are responsible for releasing the virus in the first place, it just doesn't stack up. You have to stretch reality a bit too much for that. And I also think the idea that people would support keeping some of the restrictions after the lockdown is lifted is very unreasonable, and that's what a lot of anti-authoritarian government people are actually saying, especially on YouTube, that the government want to keep the lockdown restrictions there after it's finished. But I think it's quite clear, given how the public is responding to the lockdown, is that wouldn't work, because people clearly want to go back to normal. Now, me myself, I'm focusing on keeping myself sane during the lockdown, rather than focusing on the insane idea of the Plandemic. So what do you guys think? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you like the video that I make. And also don't forget to hit the bell icon if you do hit subscribe, so you get notified of my latest videos. I've said it countless times before, and I'll say it again. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we are finally getting there. The restrictions are starting to be lifted. Thank God for that. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.